Spurs as significant favorites over the Knicks in the finals. The Knicks have already defied the odds to win the Eastern Conference. But if you watched this show a month ago, you wouldn't be surprised. Mike Greenberg, professional overreactor. I am here today to tell you, after what we saw last night, Mr. Wilbon, that the Knicks have found the formula, and the Celtics, for all of the great story that it is with Tatum coming back and everything, they reminded us they're this team that plays with their food. They lose these ridiculous home games for no reason. The Knicks are going to the finals. What do you think? I said that, for the record, before the series with Atlanta was over, when Boston was ahead of Philadelphia 3-2. From the moment I spoke those words, the New York Knicks have not lost a game, and they've won almost all of them by 30. So here's the way I look at it, Perk. When you're wrong as often as I am, you get to crow about it a little when you had one right and I had this one right.
Green, I like you, though.
Yeah.
I like you.
And I like you, too.
Because you always got to go back to previously on Get Up.
Right.
When you had these moments and you're right. But look, let me tell you something. Everyone keep talking about, the winner of the OKC and Spurs matchup is going to win the NBA Finals. I'm here to tell you, you dead wrong.
Ooh.
You dead wrong if you're disrespecting the New York Knicks like this. One, they have a closer, and the best player in the Eastern Conference, Big Body Brunson, is his name. Karl Anthony Towns is looking like a top 5 big on both ends of the floor. And the most important thing that they have that you need to win a championship, a handful of two-way players, a la Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Landry Shamet, and I can even throw McBride in there now. Like, when you see that togetherness, you see that the way that they coming together, playing a gender-free basketball. Big Mitchell Robinson, hey, boy, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Because he has been so locked in. Yes, they're going to continue to hack a Mitch, but the lobs, the block shots, his minutes that he come in, he's playing it with so much spirit and passion. The Knicks are serious. If they get San Antonio, I got the Knicks picked to win in 6. If they get OKC, it's going the distance to 7. I'm going to stick with OKC, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks pull it off.
What do you think, Michael?
One thing to keep in mind, and the Knicks certainly can win this series. Part of this, too, is Oklahoma City and San Antonio are going to Ali Frazier each other.
Yeah.
Right? People are going to need IVs and hospital stays, and then they're going to come into a series. Absolutely. And so, the rust versus rust won't matter, because if the Knicks are starting in the West, okay, fine. If they're rusty part or all of game 1, so what? Right. We're not talking about starting off at Madison Square Garden, having to play through that. So, I think the Knicks very much can win the series.
Greeny, I got a question for you, because you are a long-suffering New Yorker.
Yeah.
Is the Knicks season to date already a success, or do you need to see them complete this and win a championship before you deem this a success? If someone would have told you in October and said, deal or no deal, the Knicks make the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999, and that's where it ends. Do you take that, or do you take your chances?
Let me answer that for you.
Yeah.
I want to know.
I'm phoning a friend.
We tied together like shoelaces. We won. Let me explain something to you. I get so tired of people taking for granted how hard it is to make it to the NBA Finals, to get to the promised land. Right. That's an accomplishment and a goal in itself.
Right.
Yes, it's a success what the Knicks have done. I don't believe that they're satisfied. I'm huge on body language. If I walk up to you, I can test your energy and know if you like me or not. Right. 9 times out of 10, you go love me, because I'm a lovable big guy. But my thing is, no, I'm just saying, when I watched the post game, when they was getting crowned, getting their awards, they wasn't celebrating like that.
That's a great point.
They wasn't celebrating like that. And I said to myself, you know what? They ready.
They had a Kobe-like job's not done kind of attitude. Here's the answer to your question. The answer to your question is, what is the alternative to success? Because if the alternative to success is failure, then yes, it's a success. There's no way that this season can be a failure. I guess maybe if they get obliterated in the finals.
If they pull a Cleveland, then yeah.
But I think that's so unlikely, I'm not even really putting it in the realm of possibility. If they play a representative series and lose to a really good San Antonio or OKC team, then yes, I think the season is a success. When it happens, you'll be disappointed. You're the fans. You've made this run. You feel like you're close. You feel like you have a chance. Obviously, it will be a disappointment. But if the alternative to success is failure, then there is no circumstance in which this is a failure. Yes, it is a success.
I'm glad everyone is so rational about this topic, and I love all the details that you guys have picked up from this team. I think, too, the other thing that you have to account for, and you know this, Perk, is just experience together. Wilbon, your requisite scar tissue, if you will. Like, they, last year, being with that group and the way it unfolded versus Indiana, the first 2 games at the Garden, that was a pain and an agony and embarrassment that I honestly believe propelled them through this season. The thing about Cleveland that is ironic is this is a blip on the radar now, but the Cleveland regular season game was the thing that prompted team meetings. Like, it was a nasty point in the season, and it really represented a moment where those guys began to call one another out, raise the level of accountability, coaching staff down. And so I agree with you. I know because I've witnessed. I saw Jalen after the game. I'm like, are you happy? He basically was like, no. Like, in terms of the opportunity that is now in front of him. I do think that it will matter which team comes out of the West. I think there's an expectation to really get it done if it's San Antonio, just because of the youth that we've all talked about. But we'll see what happens.
I did Jalen Brunson podcast at All-Star break, and I looked him in the eyes. I said, do you understand the moment? He was like, yeah. I said, no. Do you understand what's in front of you? You have a chance to make history. You have a chance to be the greatest Knick ever. You know why? Because the story matters. Don't come giving me this Frazier and all this stuff. No.
Clyde.
Here's the thing. He joins the company of the small guards, a la Isaiah Thomas,
Isaiah and
Steph Curry. For small guards to lead this. Jalen Brunson leads this team to win the NBA championship. He will be the greatest Knickerbocker ever.
Here's what I'll say. We can have that debate a different time if we want to. But here's what I will say. I'll introduce him to Joe Namath, because that's who he becomes. Joe Namath, to this day, 50 years later, when we do an event in New York, everyone stands up the second he walks in the door, because he's the guy who did it.
He's going in that company?
They have won a championship 53 years, and he leads them to one. I think that's who he becomes. For the next, when he comes to the Garden, 50 years from now, he gets a standing ovation. That's who he becomes. And if you were just joining us, we opened the program this morning with 2 conclusions. One from Mr. Wilbon, that OKC is going to the finals, and the second from Big Perk, that Wembanyama, the great young spectacular star who may well be on his way to becoming, if he isn't already, the face of the NBA, looks like he may have run out of gas, which I don't know that I would hold against him. We'll wait and see what he does in Game 6.
I mean, look, it's human nature, right? And you have to actually go through it to know what it feels like, especially as a big man, to go through the trenches of going through the postseason. And he's a guy that's relied on. Like, I was a role player. We're talking about a guy that's a number 1 option. And when I think back, I think about Game 7 NBA Finals, right when I was sidelined with my ACL injury, and I was telling Vinny and Monica this. I remember sitting on the sideline, and I remember Kobe, KG, Paul Pierce, like nobody could hit a shot in that second half, but everybody was just like thugging it out. It's a grind, And it's about your will when you get to this point. It's not about schemes, X's and O's. From this point forward, all the way to whoever is crowned for the championship, it's not about anything else but your heart and your mental toughness. Like, you could throw some things up in there, but at the end of the day, it's about who won it the most. And I can't fault Wemby for this because it's his first roller coaster. You talking about the Western Conference Finals. You talking about physicality. But I'm going to tell you what it do teach a guy like Wemby is that I got to do more. So the treatment that I'm getting in the morning before a shoot around or the nights off, then when I go to practice, I got to come back later that night by myself and get in the cold tub for another extra hour. I got to make sure I wear compression tights on the plane rides because every single thing matters. Hey, trainer, what a Normatec at? I need that. I need more ice on the plane. I need it around the clock because these are the moments, especially when you're playing every other night, you're traveling, guys are being physical with you, your body is going to wear down.
That's learned behavior.
Right.
And it's learned. Takes years. The greatest players ever, except the 3 exceptions I have to this: Russell, Magic, Duncan. End of list. Everybody else had to learn the hard way.
Right.
And Wemby is going to learn the hard way.
And not just that, he's going to have to learn how to make the game easier for himself. And you don't learn that through regular season basketball.
Right.
You learn
Absolutely,
that through the cauldron of the playoffs and understanding what teams take away from you. That's why he was drifting out to 25 feet last night, because that was the only place he had space. He just didn't have the legs to hit those shots, and that's why I think this series could be over.
It's also worth pointing out, Russell obviously is 60-something years ago. Of the more modern examples you just gave, Magic had Kareem, Duncan had Robinson, they had running mates, they had guys who had been there and done it and been through it, and they weren't being depended on for basically everything. Wembanyama is probably, if you watch it, they probably depend on him for more. When you consider his defensive presence,
that's a great point.
They depend on him for as much as I can ever think of any team depending on any one person. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but the reality is when you're playing every other night, OKC had an advantage in rest coming into this series to begin with. The Spurs had a pretty tough grind against Minnesota to get here. He had to play all the 49 or whatever it was minutes in game one. I don't think it's making an excuse for him to say that this thing looks like it's wearing him down.
No, I think we're looking at the facts. The other side of the coin, though, you guys, for me, is that we've seen highs and lows from OKC. Yes, they're the defending champs. They have won the 16 games required to be the last team standing. But they're still navigating injuries. As big as Jared McCain was last night, is that going to be consistent? There are still ways in which I thought the Spurs were still in position to make this a ball game, and we're talking about them looking exhausted, right? And rightfully so. And the balance of responsibility is something that we'll have to explore, but I'm just not ready to call it.
Does it end in 6 or 7?
Oh, I think it's done in 6.
No.
You think they ended in 6?
No,
you're going 6. You sounded like you're thinking, you think 7. You think
I picked OKC in 7. It's going 7.
I picked San Antonio in 6, and for no reason I'm staying with it. I know it's physically impossible. But then again, my predictions sometimes aren't so bad. Can we put up C3?